welcome to this video. So today I will be reviewing the new KSI Dissimulation album, which is his first solo album, and I've been following KSI on his YouTube channel for like 5 years. So you'll think I'm biased because of that, but I actually am not the biggest fan of him. I watch some of his stuff occasionally, but I don't really think he's the best YouTuber in the world. So let's jump into it. So the first track, What You Been On. Immediately the first thing I noticed is a shitload of autotune. He has just like insane amounts of autotune throughout the entire album. There's like 4 songs maybe where he doesn't use autotune that much or not at all, but other than that there's a shitload of autotune and it ruins a lot of the songs. It just doesn't sound good, honestly. But it's pretty bad track, I'd say, but it's just the intro track, so it's a lot of rubbish, to be honest. So second track is Cap featuring Offset. I have to say, on this album JJ is just drowning in autotune, and pretty much all of the features he has are like the only good part about the songs. I don't feel like JJ has the talent to make a full good album. Like, I just don't think he's that good of an artist. But yeah, Cap featuring Offset. So I actually kind of like how it starts really smooth, and with the chorus I kind of like the chorus, but the autotune, of course, just absolutely horrendous. And I hate Offset's verse. I just hate Offset in general. I think he's just terrible artist. So that's one of the only features that I think are worse than JJ's himself. It's an okay song if you look past the autotune and Offset's verse. So next track is Poppin featuring Lil Pump and Smoke Purp. I really don't like this track. I really don't like Lil Pump on Smoke Purp. I think Lil Pump has zero talent. The only thing he has is like character. You know what I mean? Like, he just doesn't have it in him, I feel like, to make like good songs. Only like funny songs, I guess. Like I Love It with Kanye, and I think Smoke Purp is super boring. I can't stand him. And so yeah, I think they both were pretty terrible, and I think KSI was pretty boring as well, so not much to say about that. I think it's pretty shit song. Next up is Houdini featuring Swarms and Tyon Wayne. I think this track is equally as bad. There's nothing really positive I can say about it. Like, I think it's just a mess, and it's just generic and pretty boring. Yeah, not much to say about that. Next up is Bad Low Vibe featuring Jeremy. Jeremy is kind of okay on this song. I feel like he copies Sway Lee a bit, which I didn't like because it just doesn't show originality. So yeah, then it's KSI with the shitload of autotune, but it's not an awful track. Like, it's definitely not one of the worst on the album, but as a whole it's still not good at all. Yeah, next up is How It Feels, which just feels like a filler track. I can clearly tell that he's struggling to like make a full song on his song. Like, he works way better with features. I mean, I can tell that he really tried with it. Most of these tracks, he doesn't like underperform. I feel like he does his best, but he just doesn't have enough talent to really pull it off, I feel like. So yeah, next up is Wake Up Call featuring Cherry Red. The chorus was kinda boring, and KSI's verse as well was just really shit. The beat was kind of okay, but it really felt like on this track that there was no effort at all from either of them. Next up is KILLA featuring Ayana Lee, and I think this track is just boring as well. There's not much to say. The instrumentals on almost all of the songs are pretty boring, like it's just like standard trap beats, and there's not much original about it. So next up is Domain. He doesn't have any auto-tune on here, so that's a pause for that. I just thought this track was pretty boring. There's not much to say about it. Moving on, Down Like That featuring Rick Ross, Lil Baby and SX. The chorus is pretty decent, and JJ's verse wasn't terrible, but it's not that good either. Rick Ross did decent, but Lil Baby I'm really not a fan of. Yeah, that's one of the best tracks on the album, but it's still not good. But in comparison to everything else, it is kind of decent. So next up is Undefeated. I thought this track was pretty boring again. Auto-tune, just not much to note. And then comes the final track, Millions, which I think is the best track on the album actually. I think this is pretty decent overall. You know, he gets very personal, and at times he's not even rapping, he's just talking, and also the chorus is pretty good. So yeah, and I also really like the beats, so yeah, that's the only song that I say is actually decent on this album. Everything else is very underwhelming. So yeah, that's it. I would give this album a 2 out of 10. I hope you like this review. I look forward to making my next review. I don't know what album it will be on. Maybe it will be an album I hate, or an album I love, or maybe I'll just wait for another interesting record to come out, but we'll see. Goodbye.